Welcome to the Infill Podcast, where we interview the most interesting members of the 3D printing and maker communities, live and with audience participation. And now, here is your host, Jonathan Levy.
Greetings, everyone. Welcome for what is to be a very exciting, albeit a little bit maybe sad, bittersweet episode. Today we are joined by my friend Michael Laws of Teaching Tech legend. He has been an educator on YouTube for 8 years, one of the pillars of this community. And in this conversation, we want to talk about his decision to go back to full-time teaching, the challenges that YouTube and content creation presents that led to that decision, new horizons for him. But also, before we do that, we want to talk about his very exciting Sobel SV08 tool changer project, which, of course, he finished much before mine. Michael, welcome to the show, my friend. How are you?
Very well, thank you. Thank you for having me. Hello, everyone.
It's really exciting to have you on here. I appreciate you making the time, diving back into your old life for a little bit more so that we can chat about it. I want to get into the whole decision and my deep sorrow in a little bit. But first, let's talk a bit about the Sobel SV08 Tool Changer project. You just wrapped that up. Congratulations.
Mm-hmm.
And
thank you.
How's it running, I guess is a good first question.
Okay, I haven't been 3D printing a great deal of anything, but seems to be holding up. Probably most importantly for me, looking at the comments on the printables page, there was like 2 small things that I've managed to fix. So there's no glaring mistakes, which was what I was worried about. You work it all out, make an SD card image, and then find that some mistake that was specific to my setup, and then no one else could use it. So far, so good for that type of thing.
So many questions because, as you know, I've spent the better part of a year building mine. And my first question is it reliable for you? Do you try? Is it at the point? Here's a good metric for that. Will you start a print with multiple tools and walk out of the room yet?
I've got one specific issue to me, and that's that I had one tool off working on it for a bit, and it's bent the wire in the umbilical. So one of them leans over, and it's tending to snag a bit on the others, and that during a tool change can kind of make it brush and knock one of the other tools slightly off. So because of that, because it's my fault, not quite. But before that, yes, I was happy.
That's encouraging for sure.
I haven't done any super long prints with it, to be honest. So I'm thinking about bringing it into my school for their maker club to really go at. That'll be a great test.
Now, along the way, since you and I both started this project, I started because of you. You kind of gave me the idea. I'm wondering if you at any point lost motivation because of Index or the Snapmaker U1. You pushed through. Was that obligation to the audience and the community, or was it, hey, this is still a cool thing for X reason?
That's a very good question. It was a bit of both. Probably more obligation, because I know it's not for everyone. But there was enough people commenting on random videos saying, hey, when's the SV08 update coming? When's this coming? That I really did feel obligated to finish it. So I was very keen to do that. Its relevance these days is tricky because there are more options now. I guess Index isn't out. There's still the XL. The Snapmaker is still one of my favorite printers. That's going extremely well for me. It's become a go-to little workhorse. I guess for those looking for a project, it's like a Voron or a Rat Rig, right? They're not for everyone, but some people enjoy the building and putting the project together as much as they enjoy using it. I think it would still appeal to those type of people. And yes, you could build a Voron too, and then do the normal stealth changer design on top of that, but it is a fair bit cheaper and probably simpler because you don't have to build the whole printer as well. So maybe there's a nice middle ground. It's also got a pretty big print volume compared to some of the other options, especially for the price. So I think it's relevant, but it's certainly not for everyone.
Yeah, I think over time what's happened, and I said this in my last video, what's happened is it's become less. When I started, it was like, I don't have a tool changer, I'm going to build one. And it's become more of a, actually you see Prusa doing the same thing, by the way. The XL is now a platform for experimentation and doing cool things, and this is the same, right? Like Snapmaker doesn't support multi-nozzles or different, so For me, it's become a platform for experimentation and also just a creative project that doesn't really make sense, right? In the same way, like, it doesn't make sense to cover your entire wall with 3D printed tool wall, but it's cool and I like it and it makes me happy. It's had to pivot because otherwise I think I would have at least dropped it along the way, for sure.
I think you make a valid point there in that hobbies don't always need justification. You can do things just because you enjoy the process. You know, it's not about return on investment. It's not about anything like that. I think most people need an outlet that they just enjoy doing, and whether you can buy an existing product or not doesn't change the fact that you might enjoy building or developing something yourself. So still valid in terms of that.
Totally. Hard to remember at times when you fire off a print to the snap maker and it's like just perfect every time, but important to remember. I wonder, have other people built your build? You've obviously published the website and gotten everything online. How many other people have built it?
I don't think there's any comments on printables with a finished make, but I guess a few people are actually partway through it based on the things they've asked for and the couple of errors that were found and pointed out. So hopefully at some stage there'll be a make posted.
That's great. And I think also one thing, I know someone who's building it, Jacques, from our team. Another thing is, like, a lot of people already have an SV08 and don't have room for an SV08 and a snap maker and need a big it is a great way, as a lot of these builds, like the Duender E3NG, a lot of these open source builds become a great way to save a printer from the landfill rather than buying another one. And if that's the only thing that your build does, right? Like, Sovol sells thousands and thousands of SV08s and SV08 Maxes. And if it gives those longer life, I think that's also well worth it. You know?
Yeah, definitely.
Did you have
rule,
any clipper
I
issues? Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, you're right. I mean, in one of the build log installments, there was a lot of troubleshooting because you convert it to mainline clipper, and then they've got some Sovol ported bits carried over.
Yeah.
But then the tool changer plugin has its own macros and things. I found there was a lot of clashes in that, so I had to kind of search through all the macros, test which ones were actually being used, which ones I could delete, but I didn't want to make any mistakes there. So I had a lot of sections through the configuration commented out in case I needed it later. And it wasn't until I finally cloned the SD card image that I'm like, okay, these have been uncommented for months now. I'm going to delete them, tidy it up. So yes, but I haven't found any bugs since fixing those obvious things.
So no timer too close stuff.
No.
Oh, that's lucky. We struggled quite a bit with timer too close, and finally Jacques figured it out. I need to ask him what the solution was. Your camera froze, but
not again.
Okay. That's all right. I mean, we can also, if you want to hop out and hop in, we'll cut that out of the episode later. I can wait. We can wait. In the meantime, I will ask the audience for questions. Live audience questions while we welcome Michael back in. And I know, for the record, we're recording this at 11 a.m. my time, which means most people in North America are asleep. All right, Michael's back. That wasn't so bad. We can cut that out. We don't even have to cut it. It was so short.
I think a tech guy would be more on top of it, but I don't know.
Software.
Cable's playing up.
Software latency. So let's use that as an opportunity to kind of pivot and talk about the bombshell that you dropped, which is that you're going to be transitioning to full-time teaching. I think you already have. You're back at work.
Yeah, I have. Yep.
Congratulations.
From the end of January, I have been. Thank you.
Yeah. Tell us about that decision, because as we were saying before we hit record, I think part of it could be, that teaching is more fulfilling. The other part of it could be YouTube is less fulfilling. It could also be stress. It could also be wanting to work with kids, not just adults that behave like kids, like myself. So walk us through that decision. You did put up a video about it, but I don't think you shared a lot of the emotional components of that.
Yep. I mean, a lot of the things you just mentioned are relevant. It's definitely a mix of a lot of different things. I think in part, one big factor is having done this for 8 years, and the fact that when I started the first 2 years, I was full-time teaching and doing both. I was doing it into the early hours of the night. That took its toll, and as a content creator, there's no it's detrimental. Actually, missed a video in a week. I think I had a 7-year streak of at least one video per week, and then I
Wow.
finally took some time off. So I think part of it was just burnout.
Right.
I think content creation, like YouTube and teaching, are very similar in some ways. Obviously, completely different in others, but they're both jobs in which people have a lot of misconceptions about. So, I'd meet someone and tell them, what do you do for a living? I'm a full-time YouTuber. They're like, oh, sweet. So you work like 2 days a week and then just like put your feet up for the rest? I'm like, well, no, not at all. I guess
No.
what it really comes down to, teaching is the same. And people say, oh, your face-to-face hours are short, you get all the school holidays, things like that. And yes, that's true. They're like some of the perks of the job. Just like, working for myself, no boss, no meetings as a YouTuber was fantastic. I guess what it really comes down to that's telling about either of those jobs is if you challenge people and say, okay, if this is such a good job, why don't you switch to it? People don't, because the reality is there's like a lot of grind, there's a lot of hard work, there's a lot of perseverance associated with each of those jobs, and they're a lot more than they may seem superficially.
Yeah, for sure. And I think it's probably not coincidental that I don't want to say threw in the towel, because that implies that you gave up. It's more like that you brought things to a close when you did, given the state of the industry, but also the projects that you had taken on recently. It's a lot. I also feel like it's a lot. The stakes on YouTube have gotten high. Not just financial stakes. Leave that aside. Like, Nate from the internet is printing a life-size castle, okay? Alexander Chappelle printed 10,000 bins and reorganized his entire workshop in a video. Those used to be like, 6-month series, that kind of thing. Nate's is a 6-month series. But, if you look at like Ivan Miranda, look at the stuff he's building. Like the bar has become so freaking high for what you accomplish in a video, and the stress and also the financial squeeze of that, right?
Yep, absolutely.
Is a lot.
Like I guess I always tried to avoid that game as much as I could because it just wasn't realistic to do so. But yeah, definitely everyone would feel the pressure if, I feel like there's no competition on YouTube, because I know in my hobbies, like Formula One, for instance, I don't watch just one channel. They're not competing for my attention. I have several that I watch, and I like different aspects and different perspectives and styles that they have. So I feel like any niche of YouTube 3D printing is the same. So I never felt like I was in competition with yourself or anyone else, because people are either going to like us or they won't. There's not really that much we can do about that.
Yeah.
But in terms of the algorithm and having, a thumbnail for people to click on and just making a video and people knowing it exists to then appreciate it, that's absolutely pressure in terms of that.
Yeah, I literally was just talking with another creator, Keo Prince, a few minutes ago, and I was like, we have the blessing that we can be best friends with our competitors because there is no competition, right? Like, if anything, you watching my video is going to be good for everyone else because they're recommended, But I think of it as the same way as, when you go work at a Google or a top tier company, it's like you're not competing with the person, on your team, but when they're a star performer, you also want to be a star performer. And it's like, for me, when I see these amazing projects that someone like Ivan Miranda does, I'm like, well, I can't do a video about, testing different ways to 3D print aluminum extrusions for a day and throw it up. That's me personally. I know some people do like to do these quick, Clayton is really good about this. He's like, hey, I thought this was really cool. I turned on the camera, recorded. And it's done well for him. I think my audience expects a lot of research from me, So I wonder, we were talking a little bit before, like how I don't see you giving up the maker and tinkerer part of your life. Are you going to continue with the Teaching Tech Racing channel, or is that done too?
No, I will. That was always like a hobby project rather than like a job, which Teaching Tech ended up becoming full time. The unfortunate reality of that is I just don't have anything to update. Like, it was about a year and a half until I got the car on track. By the time I bought things, modernized things, and learnt what I needed to learn and waited for whatever. And then on track, it was 90 seconds before a drive shaft snapped. And now it's been over a year trying to replace that. because there's no off-the-shelf parts. So one thing I've discovered is I don't have a really good pool of resources of people I know. It's one of those things where it's not what you know, it's who you know. So
Totally.
there was a local guy who was meant to be making it. You know, I drew it all up. I took down samples, all the parts he needed, and he's like, "Yep, cool. You know, it'll take this long." And then that time came, didn't hear anything. Tried to contact, didn't get back to me. And then eventually, 4 months after I'd originally dropped it off, I think I actually went in. I had to go to the shop so they couldn't avoid me. And he's like, "Oh, yeah, I'm not making it. Sorry, but I've started to find someone else to quote for you." I'm like, apparently he lost a staff member. That's fine. Those things happen. What I was annoyed about is that he didn't tell me months ago when it happened, and I could have taken my business elsewhere because he wasn't going to profit from me either way. So it was just so slack. So that was a third of a year taken up, and now it's up with a friend interstate, and it's been done as favors to him with people he knows, like old blokes in sheds with this amazing specific knowledge and the tools to make this stuff, which means, I'm extremely appreciative because I'll get what I need. But at the same time, I can't hassle anyone. It's people doing favors. It's people, helping out friends. So I'm just completely stuck. All I can do is be patient.
That is the thing, right, about being a content creator. And I try not to lean on it, but at the same time, you have to, because you have a deadline. If you were doing a video about this and someone was paying good money, I know you weren't heavy on sponsors, but if, some company was like, "Hey, we want to be involved in this drive shaft video and we're going to sponsor it," you have a deadline. And I try not to lean on the influencer card and be a diva. But at the same time, when you are, I'll give a real world example. I'm testing the Big Tree Tech Vivid. And it, as you said, Soval machines have all these funky particular things that it just, we couldn't get it to run mainline Clipper. And they put one of their staff members, Alan, thank you, Alan, for the better part of a week, remotely logging in and doing all the config files and stuff like that. Now, yes, that makes business sense for them because they're going to sell a lot of those to Soval customers, but also because of the and I'm not charging them anything for that video, but because of the quid pro quo of I'm going to get thousands and thousands and tens of thousands of people to put eyes on your product, people have a financial incentive to help, right, with your projects, or, just by virtue of also the exposure, right? If you watch Colin Furs, the cement company comes and they want to help him, and the steel company comes, and when you're doing it as an individual, you lose all that kind of I don't want to call it privilege, because I, again, try not to treat it as privilege, but you lose all that economic incentive for people to help you move your projects forward.
Yeah, absolutely. That whole second racing channel is exactly like that.
Right.
If I frozen again.
You're frozen again. Yeah. How did you know?
I just happened, your expression, and then I looked down. I'll refresh. It should be quick. I'm really sorry.
No worries. We'll cut it later. It's fine. The beauty of a live show, guys. So, audience members, ask questions. There's 32 of you in here, only 9 likes, and nobody has asked a question. So if you have any questions, please do let us know. All right. We are back with Michael. So...
Sorry, everyone. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. You're fine. How's the landing been back in teaching? Has it been as fulfilling as you found, or do you have certain itches of looking over and be like, "Oh, there's a new tool changer coming out. That would have been pretty cool."
It's really weird. It's all a matter of perspective and a change being as good as a holiday. So, one of the things with our job is, I don't know about you, but everyone else went to work and I was just by myself all day. I still eat team sports and things like that. I still had social outlets, but the majority of the time, week by week, it's just me working out. I handled that pretty well. But as I started doing casual teaching last year, I realized how much I had missed the interpersonal side. So now going back into teaching, things that are so innocuous and boring, I really enjoy, the things that shouldn't be. Just the chance to get to know one by one a staff room full of teachers, to meet kids. In my role, I do student surveys, and just getting to know kids and what makes them tick and what they need to perform their best. And then later on, I'd have interviews with their parents, and just meeting random parents, and yeah, the same thing. I found things like that way more stimulating than they should be. But yeah, because of that and probably a honeymoon period, I've
Yeah.
very much enjoying so far.
It's funny. I actually thought that was going to be the thing that, I mean, burnout, obviously. Every YouTuber, I think, is burned out at a certain point. But that was one of the things that I thought you were going to say, is because you'd mentioned in the past, I don't know how you phrased it, but that actually doing podcast interviews is one of your favorite things. I was like, oh, that's interesting.
Yeah,
like,
that's it.
I don't think the majority of us in this corner of YouTube, right? Because we attract a lot of neuroatypical people or neurodivergent people, and stuff like that. A lot of engineers. I was like, that's an interesting data point about Michael and how you're wired. So that doesn't surprise me, I guess, at all. We do have some great questions coming in, by the way. Leo Key
Sure.
Oz, which I assume means he's somewhere on your continent, wants to know if you'll be keeping the 3D printing calibration page live, but updated as required.
Live, definitely. No plans to scrap it. I haven't updated it in a long time, apart from adding the SV08 stuff, simply because I feel its limitations now make it kind of obsolete compared to other options. So a lot of people use Orca Slicer, and Orca Slicer already has a whole bunch of inbuilt tests. Whereas the problem with my site is it had pre-sliced G-code from Simplify 3D, which was not obscure, but not the most popular slicer back then. Now is definitely obscure. So you might run a tuning test for retraction or something like that, and the settings that you came up with didn't necessarily translate over well to whatever slice you were normally using. So I think most people these days are just better doing the tuning within their actual slicer. So yeah, probably won't be updated in terms of that, but I'm certainly not deleting it because there's probably some good general stuff just for procedures and the order of which to do things that are worth keeping.
Right. MDB Family as Life has a good question as well, which is, because you're experienced as a teacher and also in 3D printing and design, he wonders if you've ever considered merging the two and creating courses on some of this stuff, which I would argue you've kind of done, but I'll let you answer it.
Yeah, I suppose the distinction would be courses that I would sell or like run as a business. So yeah, I guess I've done the free version with tutorials on YouTube. I did consider last year when I started to do casual teaching again. The reason I got back in is because I was at a school running a design competition, and the principal said, would you be interested in working every now and again with gifted and talented students? And I thought, well, that's probably something as a teacher I could package and have, like, contact schools and have a menu of like half-week courses where I come in and teach the gifted and talented kids how to do CAD, some sort of design project, something like that. So it did cross my mind in terms of that. In terms of doing it to the general public, I would say no. One of the things I really liked about YouTube compared to running a business is I didn't sell any products, so I didn't have to worry about customer service beyond looking after my patrons. So I didn't have to worry about something being faulty and doing refunds and technical issues and all of that stuff. Everything was for free, so if it's good for someone, it's good for someone. But if there was something slightly wrong, they didn't really have grounds to complain because it was free. So I like that arrangement, and yeah, I would be hesitant to go into a traditional business where that would change.
It strikes me also, by virtue of this conversation, I'm starting to realize, it strikes me that, and don't take this the wrong way, there's no value judgment here. It just strikes me that entrepreneurship is not the part of this that you liked, right? You like teaching tech, and you're really not interested in building out an organization with systems and processes and stuff like that. You just want to teach people, which is great.
I think from like the point of view of personal pride of like achieving milestones of X many subscribers and whatever, I cared in terms of that, and I care in terms of reputation and legacy, and now having built like a body of work that, even though I finished, still remains on the internet. But yeah, in terms of running it from a business, I was always happy enough that I made enough money to do it full time, and that was enough for me. Like I could provide for my family. It wasn't a drain on us. So yeah, that was enough.
Yeah. And I don't want to ask specific numbers. I want to ask, though, has it been roughly comparable going from content creation to teaching? Because you did it also in a very non-commercial way, and you've told me in the past your living expenses are so low. Has it been a sacrifice, or has it been roughly comparable without getting into numbers?
I would say from when I went full time, I was fortunate enough to make at least as much as I did the teacher the whole time. And during the COVID boom, when everyone was picking up new hobbies, that was like the biggest year for the channel. I made like a fair bit more than I would have if I was still teaching. And then I guess over then it's like come back down, like regression to the mean. So probably like an equivalent going back now. But I guess, YouTube still, people are watching the videos, and I'll have some passive income for however long, and as it slowly dwindles away.
Talk about the body of work. That's true. That's also nice. That and maybe affiliate link clicks and stuff like that. It's a nice thing. Speaking of the sponsorships and the kind of financials of things, let's really quickly, that's not the right tab. Let's really quickly thank this episode's sponsor, which is Sovel. I'm glad that wasn't anything embarrassing, just a checklist. So Michael and I both have used Sovel products as a basis for our open source projects. The thing that you get with Sovel is you get a good product at a very fair price and complete open source software, firmware, hardware, everything is published. I would say if you want to build a project printer and you don't want to start from scratch, someone asked actually just recently, would it be worth building a Voron? If you enjoy the build, great. But if you're using it as a means to an end, like I actually want to build a tool changer, or I actually want to build, the fastest printer I possibly can, the Sovel printers are great because they allow you to just get a head start. The printer works, it comes, it arrives. The pricing is very fair. They're good people to deal with, and I recommend them. I think that's a fair ad spot. I think that's a good ad spot. Michael, I want to talk about...
I'll say for my own SVO8... Sorry. I'll just say that the fact that everything was open source for the SVO8 means import the CAD. Okay, I need to design a part. Well, that's so much easier than measuring. So that was definitely applicable for my project.
Totally. And I can say on the organizational level as well, like I've connected them with other designers, and them and Snapmaker are the only two companies where... especially the only two Chinese companies. Prusa is also this way, but the only two companies where they're like, oh, cool, someone built something for our printer, rather than, oh, I don't really like how someone built that because it implies that the original toolhead isn't good enough, or we don't want to deal with customer service complaints because someone installed this. Like, they are also on the organizational level very pro upgrader. You're frozen again.
It must time out or something. All right.
Yeah, probably. I don't know. It's fine. I'm not worried about it. All right, let's read some of these questions real quick. So someone asked about Fusion 360. Michael is the one that got me on Onshape, and I use Onshape. Michael uses Onshape. I'm just answering some of the questions here. And I strongly recommend Onshape. And before this call, I actually thanked Michael for changing my life as a maker by getting me on Onshape. If you're a SolidWorks user, you'll like it because it's actually founded by the founder of SolidWorks who sold it and left and started Onshape. Check out Onshape, and Michael is the man. He has like multiple series, one of them newer, one of them a few years ago, on learning Onshape, which is how I learned Onshape. So that's really cool. Question from Leo Key in Queensland. He says, do you see the focus on purge waste not as serious as it is made out to be compared to the wasted filament in older tech where there were many more failed prints? Oh, that's interesting.
It's an interesting one, isn't it? Like Bamboo Lab bringing the AMS and multi-material being a lot more accessible for everyone. Like all the Purge was initially kind of forgotten in the hype, and then when tool changes became more popular, it became in a back-to-back comparison so clear how wasteful that type of system is. One of my patrons just posted up, Creality is launching a machine, like a dual machine shredder and extruder. I'm very interested to see how that goes with my own experiences trying to recycle, because my understanding is you need, it's a really high percentage of virgin material with the recycled for it to be viable. So
I can talk to this. This is one of the few instances, Michael, where I have something to contribute to the conversation engineering wise, which is you don't if you're willing to do a double extrusion process. And that's what I'm experimenting with now. So I've gotten okay filament with 100% virgin or even 85% virgin.
Yep.
The issue is consistency in a small extruder. If you're using a large industrial extruder, Honey Badger don't give a shit. Like these things, you've seen. I did a video on Sunlu's tour. When the extrusion screw is this big, it doesn't really matter, right? But for the small stuff that you'd have on your desktop, what a lot of recyclers do and Recycling Fabrique does is you extrude once garbage filament, which ranges from 1 millimeter to 2 millimeters. Then you extrude again. I'm experimenting with that, and it's actually working pretty well. The problem is, by the time you have shredding and extruding once, shredding, sifting, dehydrating, extruding once, pelletizing, extruding again, you're putting in it's economies of scale, right? Because you divide the labor, but you're putting in more labor. I haven't done the math because it also depends how big the batches are. Are you shredding thick parts that are going to require babysitting, or are you shredding poops where, you put it in a hopper, come back in an hour? There's a lot of variables, but one way or another, I can guarantee that you're putting in more than $20 worth of your labor into the parts, which sucks.
Yep.
But as any economists, especially environmental economists, will tell you, what's it called? Negative externalities, right? Like there is a value that we as a society don't assign to saving that material from the landfill. Is it $20 per kilo of plastic? Probably not. Especially not PLA, right? Which is a lot better than having ABS and nylon in the ground. It's not great, but it's better than ABS and nylon and having styrenes leak into your groundwater. In any case, about the Creality thing, if you sign up for it, they send you a lot of questions that are so rudimentary in nature that it would lead you to believe that they're just now starting the development cycle. And how do I put this? The laws of physics are a biatch, right? Like there are just some.
I agree with that.
There are some things, for example, the strength of PLA, that is a physical law that you can't really change unless you apply heat. If you apply heat, you apply friction. Also, mechanical friction of shredding something is going to generate heat, which is going to apply friction. So my point being is you're going to need a certain amount of horsepower, torque, whatever, power, which costs money. Industrial motors are expensive, and or heavy steel to create inertia, force equals mass times acceleration. You're going to need heavy ass blades, and that's governed by the market of steel, which is so big, it might as well be a law of physics, right? They're not going to get economies of scale buying raw steel. So we'll see. I don't anticipate being able to put a large 3D print in there. I don't anticipate it being particularly consistent. I actually don't anticipate it coming to market based on my experience, but they're real engineers. I'm just an idiot. But we'll see. I hope it does, to be honest with you. We'll see.
Yeah, I hope it does too. I mean, going back to what you were saying about justification for this, it's part what I was saying before. It's a project I want to finish just to see if it can be done, but also from an ideological point of view in getting rid of that waste, even if, a lot of energy and effort goes into it. I just hate chucking stuff out like that, especially in a hobby where you design something and you iterate and you will generate waste. Like reviewing things over the years, a lot of the time I was just printing something for the sake of it to test the machine. I got a bit better with printing stuff that I could then give to people in the later years. But I just I felt a commitment to do it for those reasons.
Agreed. And I now treated it as a hobby. Like for me, it's akin to someone whittling wood, even though we have CNC machines now. Super inefficient, ridiculous to whittle a pair of glasses, frames. But I actually really enjoy making filament. It's fun. It's super rewarding. Like when you print that piece out of 100% recycled filament, glorious, and I love it, and that's how I justify it, right? That's me time, and I enjoy it, and I don't record most of it, and I'm just having fun with it. I'd love to keep in touch about it because there are a lot of things coming out now that are making it easier. For example, I'll give a plug to ArtMay. No shade to your pelletizer, which I think was a really good start, but it wasn't as reliable for quantity. ArtMay came up with like a full frickin' pelletizer, and I can connect you with the guy if you'd like. And that thing, you can leave it, the cycle time is 1 hour, which you can do 5-10 kilos of filament, which makes sense if you need to pelletize. You literally put a drill on, you zip tie the trigger and walk away. And it's good. Like, it's really, really good. Fully 3D printed, you know, besides metal bits. So that's one development that I'm excited about. And what's his name? Liha Prints designed an open source 3D printed sifting machine based on a stepper motor and a driver. So, I mean, that takes a lot of the labor out, right? You put 10 kilos in a hopper, come back, and it's fully sifted. And so those are the two of the things that take the most time. And then if you can't tell, I'm over caffeinated, so I apologize, folks, if I'm just rambling. The third thing is dehydration. And what I'm experimenting with right now is, if we're doing 2 extrusions, is the material in the extruder long enough to cause the water vapor to disappear? In other words, if I do 2 extrusions, can I skip the dehydration step? Because that's so much work, dehydrating all this granulate. It's work, and you lose a lot if you are not very careful, because PLA, when it's 4 millimeters thick, it's like trying to dehydrate 1 strand of filament. It's going to melt if you get at 50, 60. So look forward to a video on that when I get my shit together.
I share your concerns over Creality Shredder as well, because I know, like, my big precious plastics one, maybe like a benchy with typical settings is like dense enough that you got to be careful. You can't just pour a bunch of stuff in the top. You got to feed them in one at a time. And anything big, I would like smash with a hammer first just to weaken it. It gave me a good respect for how strong 3D prints are, actually. And the other thing you touched on is the friction of the process. I'd have to turn it off for a few minutes every now and again, just because any plastic that was thicker and taking a few times before it was small enough to go through like the grate thing underneath would start to melt and like gum it up and clog it. So, and then it was really hard to clean out when that happened. So they certainly have a challenge.
We lost your camera, but I'm feeling like we could just go audio only. Honestly, it's not a big deal.
What's the freeze frame like? Oh, it's pretty unflattering.
Yeah, if you want refresh, I'll hold on to what I wanted to say. But this is how people know that it's live. Feel free to submit questions, guys. We'll be more than happy to answer them. And let us know if you like this little tangent we've gone on about 3D printing recycling. All right, we are back. So the heat I spent a lot of time dealing with, and I did a video, but I know you don't have a lot of time to watch 3D printing content. So I added a massive heat sink and a massive 120 millimeter fan, which expels a lot. Then I added a turbine fan, which pushes the hot air through. And now I can run it pretty much indefinitely. It actually blew my mind. Like, you know, you understand basic physics, right? Heat, expansion, friction, especially when you're dealing with a plastic, which, you know, is very, I don't know what the term is, but goopy. But it actually fully blew my mind. Like, take off the heatsink, clog. Put the heatsink on, run it, runs. I can send you photos.
It's the thing, like, a lot of industrial injection molding machines don't use a heater. They just use the friction of the pellets going through the screw to melt it on the way in.
Whoa.
So there it is in action.
I didn't know that. That's crazy. And then I think about all that heat that's coming off, right? Because if you put your hand under and you feel the turbine fan is blowing hot air, like probably 50, 60 C, right? Like hot, humid air. Maybe I exaggerated. But then I'm literally thinking, right, that is actually like money down the drain, right? I am paying money for that energy to come in, which is expensive because it's 3-phase electrical in a residential area. And it's literally, I'm just watching that heat just go out my window, and that's money too. I don't look at my electric bill anymore, so I don't know how much it is, but it's a shame that we can't use that heat for something, right? Like dehydrating the material or something. But you got to get it out of the system.
That sounds like a pretty decent idea. Dehydrating
It is, but
after that, but
so here's the part that I don't understand. You'd have to use some kind of like heat exchanger to concentrate it, because you need to get it really, really hot, and then how do you need like a valve. This is all way above my pay grade, right? You need a valve so it doesn't go over 55 tops, and you still need to you know, I came from like Bitcoin I'm still a hard Bitcoiner, and the big thing there, right, with Bitcoin mining is like, okay, you're by design you're wasting the energy, but if you can use that energy, you know, to heat your home or whatever, that's pretty cool.
I think I saw a thumbnail once. Someone tried to heat their home with like a Bitcoin mining PC.
You can do it. Yeah, you can do it.
Yeah, I believe it. Yeah.
Well, Michael, I want to ask. I want to touch a little bit on the ethics of the industry, because you and I think represent two different sides of the spectrum, which is you've remained very non-commercial, and I'm very commercial, and I'm unabashedly pro-sponsor, and I try to still uphold an ethical standard, but I think. How do I put this in a way that doesn't put a guilt trip on you? I think the 3D printing community is losing a very important standard bearer with you departing, and I would love to get parting words for you, for folks that come after you, right? Based on the example that you've set, based on your experiences and what you would like to see going forward, because as I said, I feel like we've all lost this father figure, at least in terms of the ethics and conduct of how you ran your business. Yeah,
I guess that's something I'm really proud of, that I was able to keep that. Like I often told patrons, you know, probably their support was the difference between me not having sponsored or not. I was appreciative for that, and I would rather switch jobs than to change that, and that became more of a thing the longer the channel went on. Like, it would have been a shame to do that for 8 years and then finish with half a year where I wasn't doing, you know, what I like to do. I guess, look, in your case, just because you have sponsors, it doesn't necessarily mean you can't be trusted. I think that's what it comes down to. If you're reviewing something, can your viewers trust that you are going to give credit where it's due? Are they going to trust that you will point out the things that need work? And if anyone's doing that, whether they paid for it, whether they got it for free, whether they have sponsors, whether they don't have sponsors, that's ultimately what would matter to me. I would say, for anyone following, I mentioned in my retirement video, my review policy, something like that is really important to protect yourself. And I'm happy for anyone to modify mine however they want. It's still on my website. Like, I didn't have one at the start, and it was bad experiences with companies that made me realize how important it was, and then it got amended a few times after a few other bad experiences.
Yeah.
So the famous one, the laser guy that decided he wanted to sue me, and I can't thank Naomi Wu enough for stepping in and applying pressure and saying, look, you're full of it, you need to, truth needs to come out. So she was the one that saved that situation. But there's bits in there because of him, because all of a sudden I was using his company's third-party images and names without permission, even though he contacted me as the first party from his company asking me to do the video in the first place. It just made no sense. So it's got bits in there saying, I'm going to use your logo, I'm going to use your product images because you're asking for a review. And that sounds so obvious, but it's because you never know. Someone's going to try and twist it around, try and discredit you. Like, you just need to cover yourself. There's a bit in there about, if you make a bad product and I point it out, it's not my fault if you lose sales. That's on you for not developing your product properly or testing it enough or whatever else. And, I guess this is international game, right? I'm in Australia. I never really worried about being sued by a company in China or America or whatever else. So maybe there's a bit of insulation from that, but it's still nice to have something where you can, if it ever did go to court, that'd be horrible, but you have an email trail where I've said, this is my review policy. We'll only proceed if you agree to it. And then say, yes,
Right.
we're fine with that. And it was all, it was all there. You have something to fall back on. So I would say protect yourself. Another key thing is it takes a long time to build trust with the community, but you can destroy it with one silly thing. One
Totally.
little mistake, and that's it. You're toast. You're done. So, like, value that more than anything. Value people
Totally.
trusting you, whether you have sponsors or not. If it's obvious that across brands you're being fair and you're being hard, you're not
Right.
glossing over things that will actually matter to people, then that's the main thing.
Yeah. I stopped doing reviews partly because of the standard that you said, I'll admit, and one of the main reasons for it was not I can charge companies more, but it was actually I am too forgiving in my own personal life, and my wife says I'm too trusting, and I can't be as hard as you were and say, this isn't good, and I have no idea if they're going to make it good. For me, it was always, this isn't good, but they promised me and I believe them. It's like, okay, I don't want people buying based on my recommendations. Most of the time, the next time I'm in China, they take me to the factory floor and go, see, this, we promised and we did it, because otherwise I just won't work with them again.
Yep.
As I say that, a certain brand name comes right into mind, but it is a huge responsibility to do reviews and call them reviews, and I hope people don't take that lightly. And it's also okay to say, hey, I'm not going to work with any products or use any products in my videos that I don't believe in, but I also don't want that responsibility. I don't want people buying based on my decision. I only show printers that I like. I don't know. I don't want to do the whole review thing.
I know what you mean. Like, I tried to not discuss price apart from a relative point of view, because like a $2,000 3D printer for someone is pocket change to start a new hobby. For someone else, they might be saving for forever to afford it. So I didn't feel it was fair to say this is too expensive, but it's fair to say, well, this does a similar thing for this price compared to it. So you need to judge up if you think you want to spend the extra for this based on its pros and cons and whatever else. So all you can really do, like you said, was show a snapshot of your experience, because the way you review something, even if we went off the same review policy, is different to me, because I probably print different things to other people, have different priorities. There's try to show how noisy it was, print quality. Most of the time, I didn't even comment that much. I figured if it was zoomed up and clear on camera, people could make up their own mind if the quality was good enough for them.
Totally.
So, yeah, you try and distance yourself in some respect.
I have an interesting video coming up. It's actually
I've
my next
frozen again,
video.
haven't I?
Yeah, you have. But I can wait. Or we can just leave it. It's up to you.
Okay, I'm refreshing. Gonna make it.
All right. Now we can talk behind his back. No, I'm just kidding. For the folks asking about FlashForge printers, up until very recently, they didn't actually have, they didn't really have someone working creator relations. And then someone new joined the company, and she's on top of creator relations. So that's probably why you haven't seen that many FlashForge printers on YouTube. Okay, so I was going to say, I actually have a situation coming up in my next video where it's a company that I work with, that I respect, who supported me financially, who helped me a lot and gave me a huge opportunity to have this product before anyone else. And I just couldn't get it working. Huge dose of user error as well. But I decided to hit publish anyway. I thought of you. I took inspiration. I channeled my inner Michael, and I was like, WWMD. What would Michael do? I was like, I'm publishing it anyway, because there are other people out there who have my skill level when it comes to firmware and hardware, and they're going to get caught up with this, and this company is probably not going to be very happy, but I literally recorded as much as I could of the video, and then we get to middle end of the video. I'm like, guys, I give up. I can't do this. I'm done. I've put in too many hours. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to the company. I hope you guys don't hate me. But so I hope that the standard that you have set for transparency and consumer protection will long outlive your career and even your content in the niche.
That would be nice. I reckon I got a habit of leaving jobs just at the right time. So back when I was studying design at uni, I used to work hospitality, and new owners bought this massive hotel I worked at, and basically skeleton crew ran it into the ground. Now, the last weekend I worked, a current affairs show came in with secret cameras in like suitcases and briefcases to film an expose. That was the last weekend I worked, so I got out of there just in time to become a teacher. I got out of teaching just before COVID-19 and all the lockdowns and the teaching over the internet. And this time I might be dodging a bullet with AI and trying to compete as a creator with just low effort slop. And yeah, so I'm interested to get your thoughts on that as a creator. Do you see it as a threat, as competition? Like, are you altering anything to suit?
In this niche, no, because for now, AI, I don't think people are going to be interested in a project that didn't actually get built. I don't think people are going to be interested. Someone has to physically put their hands on the printer and hit print and test it and use it. If I were in the news niche, some of these like daily news briefings, I watch a lot of TLDR news. I really like them. I would be super worried. Oh my God, like AI can react so much faster. In our niche, I just use it as a tool, and not even in the way people think. Like sometimes I've used it if I talk about my kids and I don't want to actually show them. So I just use an AI slop rendition of recreating the conversation where my kid said something to me, and everyone knows it's AI and it's ugly and the facial expressions aren't right. But I'm not going to show you guys what my kids look like. Sorry, I don't want to do it.
Yep. I was the same. I never had them in there.
Yeah, and as you shouldn't until they're old enough to.
I had the back of their head a few times, but that was it. Yeah. Never their faces.
Yeah, I use ChatGPT religiously to tear up my scripts, so I don't write with ChatGPT. But I'll be like, hey, what's boring here? What's too technical? It's like grammar check on steroids, right? And for me, that's been a huge boon. I hate proofreading my own writing. I always have since I was in school. Mosquitoes, and that's been huge for me, being able to use AI to create visuals. Like, hey, can you chart out, something that would take me an hour, right? Can you chart out all the releases from Bamboo Lab over the last 3 years and create a trend line so I can put it in my video and we can make a prediction? That's like a 30-second prompt. So I think that form of AI, one, people don't object to in the way that they object to AI slop. Like, it's AI enhanced.
Yep. It's helping you do things you already know how to do.
Yeah, exactly. Or like, I'm working on a project right now which has 250 printed parts, and all you get is a PDF. I'm like, can you take this PDF and dump it into a list of parts and quantities? It's done. Like, that would have been an hour of my time for sure, and I would have made mistakes, and AI just did it. So I'm thinking of AI as a tool to enhance for myself and my team. Or if I use it in the slop fashion, it's for gags or laughs generally.
Yeah, that's my favorite use of AI. Like Formula One fan videos of ridiculous things that it's so obvious it's fake. Like, it's not hurting anyone. It's just, it's entertainment. Right. I reckon the type of thing I see, not in 3D printing, but elsewhere. Let's say you look up a robot vacuum cleaner. You come across so many videos on YouTube where they've got an AI voice just reading the spiel off the website to over the top of a cut audio version of an ad of the product. So they'll have like 7 videos, one after each other, no intro, no outro, and then affiliate links, and that's it. So I wonder if someone will start making recap videos. These are the latest 3D printer trends, and then it just rattles through them affiliate links.
So one of two things will happen, right? One, people will get sick of that. Their market for it will disappear, and so it will stop happening, or it will get so good that we won't know the difference. I'm worried about the latter because, it's a hop, skip, and a jump to just fake BS content about 3D printers. Like the Kickstarter launches, it's so easy to make fake videos. I don't know. I do think there is a future. I'm actually pretty confident in this. And this is based on interviews I've heard with the CEO of Instagram. I think there's a future where there is a sort of, not watermark, but metadata that can only be added by real cameras. And that is put in. And basically the default is this is AI. And if you want it to not be AI, it needs to actually be recorded on a physical camera, like an iPhone or whatever, and YouTube can pick that up. The problem is we all edit our videos. So how, Adobe and DaVinci are going to have to find ways to pass that through and make it so you can't generate that signature without uploading real camera footage. And then, it'll be in there. 95% of this video has that signature, almost like an encryption kind of key in the video. And then YouTube's able to say, now people will find ways to fake it, of course. But I think we're going to a future where actually what you have to do is prove that something is real.
I think too, like with stuff in the past, I think the pattern will be similar. That as things become, I guess, mass manufacturing is what I'm thinking of in the past. That like craftsmen and artisans will still be valued by people as like the purest form of the art, and I think this type of thing will be as well. So even if the majority, 2/3 of the channels are AI, people will still appreciate anytime there's a real person with real projects and all of that, and they'll always have a place for that reason. They will never be left behind.
But that's not an optimistic future for me. Like, when was the last time you went to a cobbler? What's the word in English? A blacksmith, furniture maker. Like, I've actually worked a lot with carpenters in my house. Like, we have IKEA, but other than that, we don't have. So most of the like closets in my house were made by a carpenter. So I'll take that one back. But like, when was the last time you had a blacksmith make something for you, or a cobbler?
I guess the closest would be like race car parts, like we were talking about before. That's not the type of thing. Like, it's bespoke, it's one-off, it's made to order. But yeah, you're right. It doesn't happen very often for most people. But
Super niche.
maybe an equivalent might be like wall art. So you can go to IKEA, like you said, or Kmart or whatever, and get a picture for the wall. But there will be enough people around, not a lot, but enough people around to keep talented artists in business to actually paint stuff and sell it in galleries.
Yeah. A lot of people in the chat are like, we makers want to see real humans making real mistakes and stuff like that. Yeah, but I wonder when it becomes so good and so interesting, right? Like, it actually shows the process of what it would be like to actually print 3D printed castle. It's like indistinguishable, but the stakes are so much higher because you don't actually have to do the project, right? Like, I built a marble clock that's the size of a city that tells the entire date and time and moon phase using marble clocks, and it's perfect, and it's as if it were real, right? Like, do you watch that, or do you watch Ivan Miranda making just the time marble clock? So
I guess it will also matter if they capture the charisma, because like I've seen enough of Ivan's videos over the year to know that his personality is a big part of it. Like, I never put jokes into my videos, very rarely, but his whole thing is he leans into the goofball thing and using the wrong tool and all of that. Yeah. So hopefully that AI never captures that.
I'd be surprised if they haven't already, to be honest with you. The best ones. But well, we've come up on time. Ed, you're frozen again. Do you want to refresh and just give us a wave?
Sure. Yep. I will. Yep. Sorry, back in a tick.
All right. Checking some of the questions. We're wrapping up, so I don't want to go too deep into questions. And I have a new puppy here that's going to need to go out. So, all right, Michael. So I do want to thank you for your time, and also on behalf of the community, I want to thank you for everything you've done for this community over the years. And I really hope you won't be a stranger. Pop in once in a while, say hi, drop a comment here and there. We'll be wondering how you're doing.
Yep, thank you very much. It's been my honor to serve the community. That's how I always saw it, as someone in a privileged position to test these products first and kind of warn others about what was good and bad so they could spend their hard-earned money wisely. And yeah, it's been great to know you and to be a guest tonight as well. Thank you.
Likewise. Yeah, keep in touch and let me know how I can help you. And I think I'm reaching for ways to keep in touch with you and keep you in our lives. So I'd love to continue chatting on WhatsApp or whatever about filament recycling, because that's something we're both passionate about on a personal level.
Yep. So that's the type of thing now where I can try and bring it into a school and get a whole school program going.
Totally.
So yeah, the scope changes, but the idea is the same.
Love it. All right, my friend. I don't know what just fell. Something just fell. Better go check on that. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. And Michael, I'll take us out and we can real quick debrief. Bye, everyone.
Thanks for tuning in to the Infill Podcast. For show notes or links to anything mentioned in today's episode, visit thenextlayer.com. If you enjoyed the episode, please don't forget to leave us a review wherever you're listening, or click the like button to let us know. And consider subscribing to The Next Layer on YouTube so you can tune in live and participate in the next conversation. We'll see you on the next layer.